A project that we've been given to do is to turn this bit of MDF into a clock and a design of anything we want. The only thing that we've got to do with inside the club is to do it on this particular size piece of MDF. Now I'll show you later on, but I've already started to play around with this. The back and sides really doesn't get shown that much. I mean, this is going to hang on the wall like so, and I had some spare bits of veneer around and I've gone around and done the edges, and also I wasn't too sure what way I would finish this, and I've played all sorts of different finishes, and I've gone from French polishing, which my original bits and pieces have always been done. I'm into doing, you see in the background, normally violins and things like that, etc. But and we normally French polish them because it's very light. However, I've tried all sorts of different things, and this is just yacht varnish. But one of the things that I learnt when doing violins is the use of scrapers, and I'm just going to experiment. I mean, these are all sorts of different size scrapers here. You can see which you make out of bits of metal, and if you don't know about scrapers, you can go and look it up. I'm not going to give you a lesson on that, but scrapers are fantastic. So one of the things that I'm going to show you with this back bit here is how, and also on the front of my bit of work that I'm going to do. And remember, I'm new to doing Marquetry, so I'm just bringing in things that I've learned through other things that I've learned into the Marquetry world. And the reason that I got into Marquetry is so that I can use Marquetry on some of the instruments that I make. So I'm learning a lot with Marquetry. But in here is a flat scraper that I use, and I will show you how I use that to keep this flat as I build up the different coats. Just wanted to go into this with you. So the clock will fit on the back, this will fit on the wall, and it's a drawing. I don't like copying other people's. My whole seem to be the venture in life is to build stuff that is going to be unique. Now sometimes, like for instance guitars and violins, you start off by copying other people's, of which I do, but I'm slowly moving over to doing more. Now I understand how to build them. I want to experiment and go and make them completely differently. And to do that, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate them. And I got into the Marquetry thing because I want to decorate some of my guitars and violins with Marquetry. So you need to know how to do it, and that's where we are. So doing all of this, what I'm doing now is not particularly what I really set out to do, but great learning. So I couldn't come up with an idea, and coming up with ideas for some of these things is the most hardest part. I got my wife to do me a drawing. This is a one-off drawing. She did this. At the moment she's doing something to do with, she's into glass beads, and she's doing stuff to do with Art Deco, and she didn't copy this from anything. This is what she came up with, this design. She took it inspired by other designs, and that is, as you can see around it, this is slightly too big. One of the problems, the original picture that I've got it on a computer bed, and I'm scanning it, and I'm trying to get the scans to come out the right size. This is just one that I've got floating around here, and it's too big, but for what we're doing here, it shows you the kind of scenario. And I've just got to get that to the right size now by bringing it down, so that when I put it over the top of this onto there, it's going to fit on there absolutely perfect, and I'm nearly there with that. So once I've done that, I will get the drawing, set myself up so that I can start cutting my veneers. I've got to sort out the veneers. Now here's where I'm a little bit lucky, because of being a member of a club, and that's why you should join a club, is that joining a club, you normally get to have loads and loads of different veneers to choose from. These are all donated to the club, or people buy them when they go to different events and things like that, etc. And you know, I can bring them home, take them back, do whatever you want to do with them, etc., etc. So I'll sort through these, work out where I'm going, and then move on to how I'm going to move forward. Again, learning curve all the time, make mistakes, learn by your mistakes as you move forward. So let's move on. So here you can see I'm trying to work out the first veneers I'm going to use, and I've made a decision to do this in sections as the drawing was basically 3 different areas. I find out later that that decision isn't particularly the best, so I'm using a bit of old veneer for the background board so that it's my waster, it's going to completely disappear once I get the whole thing done. And I've taped with tape all around the outside edges, something that Les has taught me to do to stop it all from splitting. Now, a few things Les taught me to do was make sure I use the correct copy paper, because if you use the wrong one, you find it very difficult to get the marks off. And here, right where the little circle is in the centre, I see that you'll see later that I get a big black mark, and I'm just hoping that's going to come out later on, but I haven't even tried going there yet. My wife's here is just helping me orientate the first section so that it's her drawing, and she's also helping me with the colours we're picking with all the different veneers. I find I'm not that good at doing that. You can see here, this is what I was talking about. If you see that, I've already traced around with the carbon paper, and I've got big black marks, and now I'm changing what I want to do. And those black marks have got to be rubbed off. Now, I've tried rubbing them off already, and actually it doesn't want to come off, so I'm going to have to scrape that off. Taking that the veneer is only 0.6 of a millimetre thick, that is something that obviously I've got to be extremely careful with. I'm quite confident that I'm going to be able to do that and get it off, but I didn't want to attack it just yet because there's going to be a lot more of a mess on it. Now, again, Les has taught me with the tape to use a very, very cheap low-tack sellotape to do this, and rather than using veneer tapes, he's found over the time of doing so many that the cheap sellotape is good because A, it holds it all together and comes off, but B, it enables you to be able to see through all the time and you can see all your work. So I've chosen a different carbon paper to go around it this time, and I've got much smaller lines on that I'm going to have to get rid of at a later stage. My knife that I'm using here, you can see every now and then I stop and sharpen it with a really fine piece of it's a 3M paper that's stuck to a piece of wood that I just sharpen the end of it, and I've just got a basic scalpel blade in this holder, and I just keep sharpening it all the time just as I go along, and it seems to work. Now I've got some files, and although I've cut this out, I know that this particular part is going to stay exactly as it is on this, so I can take the opportunity of changing that particular part by filing it and getting rid of any square edges, because I'm about to trace around that on the next piece of wood. So in many respects it's sort of it's great that I get that opportunity to do so. So here you can see working, and as you go around the tighter areas, it's more, rather than a pull on the knife, it's more of a keep poking to go around, especially when it gets very tight. But it's something you just learn. I'm just keeping the knife totally upright. I'm not worried about any curve or anything like that. Sometimes I've noted that I am at a slight angle, but I'm taking no notice at all. When you glue it together, it seems to be fine. Again, it's watching Les. I've watched him many times and asked him, and he doesn't seem to be worried at all about how upright the knife is, and all his work is absolutely superb. So I'm going to stop here, and I will upload 2 or 3 other videos just showing you how I'm getting on with this and how I change things, because I know even on this video that I've actually made some critical mistakes which I have to recover from as I move along. Speak soon.